Good evening, race fans. I think we're live. Yeah, we're live. Welcome to Big Brain Racing Community League Season 1. This is Race 3. We are at Circuit of the Americas, also known as COTA. We've got a 2-hour race tonight, and there's double points on offer. My name is Matt, also known as Neotropolis, and I'm joined by my fellow Big Brain Racing co-founder and co-commentator, Corey.
Oh, yep, Corey, also known as COTA.
And we are just getting towards the end of free practice here, so another minute to go, plus change.
Oh,
Oh, a
someone's
bit of a
just,
crash there in the background. And then we'll be jumping into qualifying. So how's
yeah,
everyone doing tonight? Is everyone ready for some racing? I know I am. I'm looking forward to this one.
yeah, definitely. It should be an exciting one, especially with being a 2-hour. Hopefully, I have set it up right this time. So, um, yeah, should be some interesting racing. We've got some quite fast people out there. I think a lot of drive-throughs might appear going through the S's. So easy to just cut the corners through that section. So,
Definitely. Track limits are going to be key tonight. If oh, excuse me, the leftover takeaway repeating on me there. Um, yeah, track limits I think are going to be really key here. If anyone can keep it clean throughout the whole race and avoid that drive through, I think they're going to have a big advantage on the rest of the field. I don't think there'll be too many that can go 2 hours without getting at least a few track warnings. So something to keep an eye on.
yeah, I can't personally say much because I haven't driven much on COTA, but the times that I did, I saw how fast the track can actually be and how easy it is to actually hit them track warnings, as you say. It's a very technical track in my eyes. Yeah, you got some really
Yeah.
fast corners there. You got some really nice tight, slow corners, some winding corners. So
And
it should
it's
be very
it's very
interesting.
undulating with the kind of up and down hill as well, and that's part of the what makes the track warnings difficult to avoid is that first section where you go through the S's, it's blind into them, so you've got to kind of pick your line and make sure that you've got your speed correct as you're going in to really avoid those track warnings.
Yeah, yeah. As I say, I've not driven it much, but from the time that I did drive it, I saw how irritating it can be. So, and it looks like we're just currently waiting for, yep. So qualifying is now starting. Let's see who gets out there first. Looks like Nick moved first on that one. No, it should pop up in a second who's out of the pits. So we'll jump on with them, see how they go for their lap.
I guess
Yeah,
some of the big news heading into this race. We've got a couple of newcomers that have joined the league this week, and we've also got Craig switching cars.
yep. So unfortunately, he has lost all his points that he earned up to yet, but obviously, he's switching cars mid-season, so it is a penalty that does unfortunately occur. And I have just noticed Matt Damon has finally rocking the big brain livery in the Audi.
Yeah, well, it took his time.
Yep, definitely. But one of our fastest drivers now rocking the correct livery, so repping the team properly. He always seems to be first out on track. I swear he just sits there, just come on, get
Well,
ticked over.
when you're the faster driver, you want to get out. You want to try and get out in clean air. Like the last thing you want is to get held up in traffic. And I know Cota's quite a big track, but still, if you get stuck behind someone, it can affect your outlap. You don't get enough temperature in the tires, and then before you know it, you're having to spend a second lap before you get in the tires in the right operating range.
Yeah, it does look like we are rocking a damp track as well, so gonna have to take it that little bit slower. It also does look like there should be rain in half an hour, but luckily qualifying will be over at that point, so we'll be skipping to another day.
Knowing Damien,
Um,
he'll be on the dry tires here on the damp track.
Yeah, I mean, it is a smarter option because it is going to start to, dry up pretty quick as the people go round. So really pushing that water out to the sides.
I think
Uh,
key here really with a damp track. It's obviously going to dry through the session because there's no more rain scheduled before the end of this session. Key is to be on track at the right time, and like I think if it was me, I'd be putting enough fuel in for the whole session, going out on the dry tires, and you should just get faster and faster lap on lap.
yeah, just sorry while you were talking there, Matt. Number 27 did jump back to the pits. So unfortunately, their qualifying is over. So we need to keep an eye on that one.
They've left the pits again.
So we're on board here with Damien out for his flying lap, I do believe. Let's see how he does. Unfortunately, we can't be fully professional and say, oh, this corner, that corner, because obviously COTA, even though it is a 10-year-old track, does not actually have any track names. Yes. We do have 3 people that aren't allowed to qualify in this session, but I do believe 2 have not arrived. Peaver is not. Oh, Peaver is here, and he is still sat in the pit, so he is serving his penalty. Thank you, Peaver, for acknowledging our systems. Let's hope 27. Yeah, 27 is back in the pits. Thank you. Thank you for that, Christian. Oh, what sort of times do we think we're going to be seeing through this one, then, Matt? I mean, I've seen them practicing, putting in a good 2 minutes and stuff like that, but the track is still greasy, so we could look to see a bit of a drop in that.
Yeah, it's one of them. I think in the dry you'd be looking at 206s, 207s for pole. Depending, I think this track will be dry by the end of the session, but it'll not be at optimum. So we may be looking at 28s, 29s for pole. But we'll see what the likes of Damien and Tony can do. I think unless one of the new drivers is on their pace, I think pole's probably between those two. Maybe Screamer can get involved, or I know Rosenek's been quick at times. So I think, yeah. Look, it's an exciting qualifying session to have a drying track.
Yeah, definitely, especially if the entire race will be dry as well, because obviously they're currently setting up the car just for that little bit of slippage or anything like that. Which then, if the track is dry during the race, it's gonna have to just be a quick guess setup, isn't it?
Exactly.
I mean, a lot of people might already have sort of stuff set up, but majority don't. So we'll just have to wait and see. But we do have times coming through the board here. Damien is currently on pole with a 2:13.9, so that is the time to beat.
Yeah, the times are going to come down lap on lap, I think. So at the minute we've got what 2.1 second gap to Skimica in second, and then another second or so down to Palmieri in third. They're the only times we've got at the minute. I guess other drivers must have invalidated their laps, but you can already see there on the stream the dry line starting to appear. So that's the important thing. It's you've got to try and keep the car on rails. So you'll gain time by being slower and staying on that drier line, if that makes any sense, rather than trying to carry a bit too much speed and getting onto the wet.
So let's jump on with someone else here. Let's jump on with Justin Greentree. Let's see how he does. He's still currently on his outlap, I do believe. So rocking the Bentley there.
So the Bentley could be strong around here because it's got good straight line speed, and obviously we've got two pretty decent sized straights. You've got the start finish straight that he's on just now, and then the back straight is also. I seem to remember from the Formula One here, it's close to 2 kilometers long or 1.5 kilometers, something like that. Um,
Yeah,
I know it's in America, but motor racing's all about kilometers,
yeah.
kilometers an hour.
Mileage. That's all you need to care about. Yep, so currently on here with Justin going through the S's. As I say, unfortunately, don't have any fancy track names for this one. So I think it'll just be a call it as you see it sort of situation.
Yep.
Coming up over the hill now.
So
Nice fast corner.
turn 10, speeding down into turn 11, which is almost a hairpin. I mean, I guess you might as well call it a hairpin. It's not quite 180, but it's probably 75-degree corner. I think that's close enough to a hairpin for me. It's a hairpin that's been
Yeah,
bent open slightly. So then this is the long back straight. This is where I think the Bentley will gain quite a lot of time.
yeah, definitely. As you say, it's got quite strong straight line speed. It's just unfortunately that weight might bog it down that little bit going through the elevated corners. It could possibly cause a few issues as it's going round, but we'll just have to wait and see how it does. 24 has been teleported back to the pits.
Okay. Keep an eye on them.
We do enforce the rule that if you do teleport to the pits off the track, guys, it's because in real life, if you get brought back to the pits not under your own steam, that's your event finished there. So it's just common sense that we'd install a sort of rule that would coexist with real motorsport at the end of the day.
Yeah, we tried
So
we
just
tried to make this as realistic as possible. I know it's sim racing, but focus on the simulation part of that.
yeah, the simulation part of racing. So just in there, putting in a 2:18.8. We still have a lot of people that haven't put a time in with
Hey,
5 minutes
I
left to
tell you
go.
what, we got Myers at the top of the leaderboard.
Oh, we have.
That
And
Lamborghini must be good in these conditions. Currently with a 2:13.7 to Damien in second place, 2:13.9. So there's about 2 tenths between them.
yeah, and it does look like he is increasing his time still as he's going round.
Yeah, he's up on the Delta. I mean, as suspected, pretty much everyone's up on the Delta right now. Um,
Yeah, the track is still unfortunately still a little bit greasy, so they are going to still be fighting it if they are coming off of that racing line a little bit where the dry patch is that you can see.
Car 24 left the pits, so I'm telling him to return to garage.
Yeah, well, if he completes his lap, then he will
No,
get
he has
qualifying
he
time.
has returned to
Yeah.
garage.
It is difficult to catch everyone, but we just get to sit back into the qualifying replay and just double check
So we've
everyone.
got Myers going deep there. I think he
Yeah.
was up on his lap there as well before that. We've got Damien 1.7 up on his lap.
Oh yeah.
But he does have a
Coming down
car
the
does
back
have a
straight
car
now.
ahead of him.
Just depends if that other car is on a flying lap, because if they're both on flying laps, there's no reason to give right of way.
Well, yeah, there's no overtaking in qualifying either.
Yep.
But he's now up to 2 seconds up on his lap.
He did undertake him, so I think Myers did teleport back to pits as well, car number 63.
Okay.
I'd say that were a thing because obviously I saw yellow flag then pits pop up. So.
Yeah. If he goes out, I'll check the replay.
Yep. So Damien coming over the line here, currently 3 seconds up on his time, so he's putting in a 2:11. What?
2:11.0. We've also got Nick Langer has jumped up to P2 with a 2:13.1, and he's half a second up on his next lap as well.
Yep. Who still is yet to qualify? Tony, our other star driver. It does look like he is currently on a flying lap. Let's have a jump on with him. So coming down the back straight now. Into the nice tight left-hander. I must say, Circuit of the Americas looks like an upside-down tomahawk, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
You know, a lot of tracks have distinct features that marry up to objects in real life. And Myers is on track.
Yeah, I've just messaged.
It's teleported back.
Car 24 went out again as well.
We'll check that one after then to see if he did a full lap.
He's not complete. He's not put in a time yet, so.
All right. Yeah, time to go back to pits then.
I have done. Biggest shock for me, Craig hasn't put in a lap yet. He is invalidated again this lap, so I don't know if he'll get another chance.
The thing is, I do know that he has been putting a lot of practice in that Porsche, so still today as well. It was only, I'd probably say about 3-4 hours ago that he actually changed from the Porsche to the Honda, so I did not have great practice time with it. You know, but yeah, Tony there putting in a 2:12.3, which takes him up to 3rd position.
Thanks for the follow, Davide. Appreciate it. We've also got Damien's up to a 2:09.3 now. Nick Trapp in P2 with a 2:11.7. He put that in somewhere out of the blue.
Yeah, I just saw him up there.
Yeah. Like you say, Tony Frasina is in 3rd place with a 2:12.3. We then got Jacob Rosenek in 4th with a 2:12.4. So between P3 and P7, there's only 4 tenths separated in those drivers. As I say that, Rosenek just jumps up to P2 with a 2:11.5, leading that group. We've got quite a few. We've got Tony Frasina's a second up on his lap.
Yeah, he is. So he could be on position for pole if Nick here, which I do believe is in front of him, does give him the room that he needs. But that BMW could have got that toe down that back straight as well.
He's going to need to find a little bit to get the pole, but this could propel him all the way up to P2 quite easily. Got Damien 1/10 up at the minute. Nick Langer's 1.6 seconds up on his time.
Nearly 2 seconds.
Skamika just jumps into P2. Tony P3.
Let's jump on with Nick. He's currently
2 seconds
two
up.
seconds up on his time.
This could put him P2 if he carries this on.
Oh, just losing a little bit there coming through the final corner.
Still 1.9. Jumps
Yep,
up to
there
P2.
he is up at P2. Well done.
2:10.7. Nick's been really fast the last couple of races I've seen him. I was racing against him in a race, early hours of Sunday morning. He had really good pace then in the Honda. He is really a Honda boy. He likes that Honda. But yeah, we got
the more you
anyone
practice
else?
in a car, the better you're going to get to it, aren't you?
Exactly.
Oh, we've just had someone jump up into P2.
Oh, Loretti.
Yeah, Loretti there jumping up into P2 with a 2:10.5.
So that ends the session. So,
So, in pole position, we have got. Uh, 1 second.
you want me to run through them?
There we go. In pole position, we have got Damien. In second position, we currently have Antonio. Third position, we have Nick. Fourth position, we have got Giovan. Fifth position, Tony. Ooh, I wonder if he can pull it back for the race. Sixth position, we have Jacob. Seventh position, Nick Trapp. Eighth position, Ivan. Ninth position, Gianluca. 10th position, Nicolo. 11th, we have Antonin. 12th, we have Christo. 13th, we have Giles. 14th, Justin. And 15th, we have Joshua. They're the 15 that did put a time in on the board. The other 5 drivers that will end up getting put in randomly into the grid, we have got Eduardo Piva, Christian, Neil, Maxine, and Craig, whose livery isn't showing yet again, no matter how many times I'd reinstall that one.
Oh, weird.
Definitely. I've just noticed as well someone has stolen my racing number on this track. Just in there, rocking the number 47. David in the chat, really pushing for M4R to bring it home. So, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. So who's your money on for this race?
Honestly, I think Nick might be able to pull it out the bag. If Damien ends up either slipping up or just sliding it a little bit, like if we get a bit of rain, I think Nick could possibly pull it out the bag in this one.
Yeah. I mean, let's see what the weather brings us as well, because that could play a lot into it. I think, like I said earlier, the key is going to be who can avoid those track warnings and ultimately avoid the drive-throughs, because that it's a short pit lane here, but obviously an extra time through the pits is always, well, never helpful.
No, definitely not. For me, it don't really matter how long the pits are. If you get a drive-through, you're losing anywhere between 30 seconds into a minute. So it just depends how well that drive-through actually goes, I suppose. So
True.
it looks like we are on a green track here. We have got cloudy weather for the next 10 minutes. And 20 minutes. And within the next 30 minutes, we will be having rain.
This
Rain
is
is on the board.
this is going to be an interesting race. This is gonna really throw the proverbial cat amongst the pigeons.
Yeah, it's the first rain we've seen in the season as well
Why
so
is that
far.
now, Corey?
I
Weather is
mean,
a fickle thing, right?
I mean, I could always just stick it on and hope for the best, but the random setting, just have it, isn't it? You just have to leave it to the gaming gods.
It's true.
I mean, it did help that I actually changed the cloud level to realistic, so but it's been unrealistic for the other 2 races. So, just about to start the warm up
I
lap
think
here.
you need to press escape and then drive again.
No, on my screen I'm fine.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at mine. Ignore me.
I did it already. So we're off on the warm up lap. A nice 2-hour race here at Circuit of the Americas. There is one mandatory pit stop, but obviously you're going to pit in a 2-hour race. We are awarding double points here. This all doesn't count on the fastest lap. You will still receive 5 points. So
Well, and with the rain as well, if the rain comes and then goes and then maybe comes again, we could even maybe see 3 or 4 pit stops here.
Exactly. And so it's going to prove to be a very interesting race, I do believe.
I think so. I'm excited for this one. I have been. Look, I don't really like driving COTA because I haven't practiced it enough. But I think as a racing spectacle, this should give us a good race, especially with the weather being variable. So Damien leads them round on the formation lap, just coming down to around about the halfway point of the lap. Turn 10 there, coming down the hill to turn 11. I wonder what tyre strategies people have got on as well. Because if look, rain's in the next 10 minutes. I wonder if anyone's gambled and gone for the wet tyres from the start.
That's light rain as well.
And intensifying in 30 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if someone towards the back, maybe even someone towards the front, hasn't gambled on the wet tyres. Because when the rain comes, they're going to need them.
Yeah, definitely.
We've got a Tony fan in the chat there. We've got Salvara. Thanks for the message. Thanks for dropping by.
So I'm already getting called out in the Discord. Someone posted a message saying that you said the practice conditions were the race conditions. There was no rain in practice. You lied. I can't help randomization. I can't help randomization.
Just a little bit of rain, nothing to worry about, nothing to see here.
I mean, it makes it more interesting and fun.
Definitely makes it fun for us.
Yeah. Could you just hide my camera just 2 seconds, please, mate? I've just dropped some nuts and I don't want to make a fool of myself on camera.
So coming round.
Don't matter, right next to my foot.
Oh, got it back.
Yeah.
Just coming round the second to last corner here, so starting to all line up in the double file.
Oh, heavy rain's in 10 minutes now.
Yeah, this rain's not going to be long before it comes at all.
And then monsoon conditions at half past. It'd be half an hour mark. By looks of things. Heavy rain plus.
So coming down the start finish straight, just waiting for those green lights.
It looks like 2 people have opted to teleport back to the pits to get them wet tires on that as well. So, just about to go here, and away we go.
We are green.
So, yeah, looks like the Lamborghini back there getting a nice push, flashing his lights just to make sure that he's seen on the inside there. Oh, keeping it nice and clean through T1 by the looks of things. Couple of people going off the track.
Damien leads us through, our pole sitter. Nick right on the tail of Loretta here. As we go through the S's for the first time.
Yeah, the 2 that opted to swap to the wets now starting to make their way out of the pit lane by the looks of things. So let's just wait and see what all this brings us, shall we? So still currently up on the front. Looks like we've got 1 or 2 spins at the back. I'm just seeing yellow flags pop up, so that's all I can guess that is happening. Tony looks like he's making his way up the pack a little bit, just gained a position there up to 5th.
It looks like he's dropped a little bit from the start. I think he was, although, wait, my times are now updating. My apologies.
Yeah, he qualified about 5th.
He qualified 5th. Yeah, this game has a weird thing at times where it messes up the order, but it seems to have updated now. So, yeah, Tony's still in 5th place there. Where have we got? Where have we got close? Nick Langer still right on the back of Loretti. We've also got Myers
Looks like
only
he's going for the overtake on the
going
inside
for
there.
it. He's got the
Oh, does he go for
outside
the
line.
switchback?
It's hard to go around the outside there, but he is still right on the tail here.
That Honda does love a good draft as well. It's quite
It's
strong.
strong in a straight line as well. He should get a good slipstream going around onto the start finish straight. Assuming he can get a good last corner exit, which it looks like he has. We could have an overtaking opportunity here into turn one. It's an uphill braking point, so you can brake really late, but it doesn't look like he's he thought about it. There's also 3 cars fighting in the background there.
Yep.
I think that's Myers. Myers trapping Rosanek.
Oh, you're Myers. Let me find Myers then. Oh, yep, there we go. So we're
So
currently on board with Myers.
Myers has made the overtake on Nick Trapp. And then we've got Rosanek just on the tail there as well.
Looks like we do have Ivan on the tail of Rosanek.
Jacob. Oh, Ivan, yeah, behind. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you.
It's alright, I said the first name and the last name. I do realise what I did as I was doing it, but it's still the name, so it counts.
All good.
Yep, so Ivan really trying to catch his Ferrari down here. Looks like he is going to go for an inside line. It is very risky on that because of how tight it can be.
Does
unfortunately lose it and lose another position there to Nicolo, one of his teammates.
Close swimmer. We've got Tony Frisina 0.3 behind Skimika as well.
Yeah, a nice train there, looks like at the front of the pack. Looks like they are starting to catch up to a couple of the... oh no, sorry, that is Damien out in front. I apologise.
Got Nick Langer still all over the back of Loretti ahead of us there.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a nice, a nice tightish grid going in so far.
Yeah, there's a lot of racing throughout the field at the minute. We've got a bit of a gap forming at the front. Damien's kind of pulled a gap of 3.5 seconds. We then got second all the way down to 5th, separated by less than 1.5 seconds, and then we got a bit of a gap down to Myers in 6th.
The cat.
I've got a cat on my lap now, which is
Oh, Nick made the move there.
oh, nice
let's
move
see
that.
if we catch the replay on
So
that one.
coming down to the last corner, right in the slipstream there. Got a great exit out of that last corner. He's out alongside well before they get to the braking point there. Ducks back into the slipstream.
Just get that little bit of an extra boost and just he gets a move done halfway around the corner there. So he will get that second position.
It's a nice move there. Well done. So let's see if he can make any time up on Damien out in front. Got a car going slowly there.
That looks to appear to be a Craig, I do believe.
That wet tyre gamble hasn't paid out then.
No, not by the looks of things. Hi 6R in the chat. How are you doing?
So Loretti's now right on the back of Langer, and we've also got Tony right on the back of Skimika right on the back of Tony. So Tony's made the move somewhere there as well.
Yeah, definitely. We're getting a lot of changes coming through. Gianluca there taking the position over Ivan. That's just happened now. You can hear the rain starting to come in.
Let's get your umbrellas out because it's raining.
Yeah, looks like Craig
is
having an issue with his car. It just doesn't seem to be moving. Myers there taking a position. I can catch that one. Jump back. Let's see an action replay.
I wonder if Craig cooked those wet tyres.
Could have done. Yeah, so Myers here making the move there, just nice and quick and smooth through there. So he will take the position. Looks like a lot of people are now diving into the pits to get them wet tires on. A
So
lot of people either still on the dry, willing to risk it as this rain does start to come down.
we've got Nick Trapp right on the back of Jacob Roseneck as well at the minute. He's just dropped back a little bit,
Oh,
but right in
Jacob
the chase there.
having a
Oh,
spin there, just really struggling to get it back on the track by the looks of things.
it's tough in these conditions because it's not quite wet enough for the wet tires to work at their optimum yet, but it's also not. Oh, we've
Oh,
got a
just had a
spin there
spin
as
there. Maya's going off track.
we've got a bit of
Lorenzo
chaos.
there.
We've got a bit of chaos. Welcome in, Pepe Alpha. Yeah, we've got some chaos. The weather is causing some chaos here.
Oh, we had a few
Uh,
bumps and rubs there.
Skamika and Nick Trapp there, I think, coming together through the middle of the corner. And I think that's Myers there as well.
Yeah, we have got three. So we've got Myers, Nicolo, and Nick Trapp there. Ooh, all of them just really having to feather that
It's
accelerator to get
really
around these corners.
these are some tough conditions.
Oh, get a bit of a power slide happening from all three cars there. You do realize it's a racing game, not a drifting game.
And Tony Frosina's just made the move on Nick Langer for P2.
Yeah.
Fighting it back.
From my knowledge, that Honda can be a bit risky in the rain.
It's not the easiest beast to tame in the rain.
Oh, Tony span it there. Just missed that. Let's see if we can catch it.
Avoid the wall. That's the key here. You don't want to get too much damage.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with having to possibly just loses the back end and Nick slides on past there. Looks like Nick has dived into the pits. Damien is still rocking the dry tires out in the front. I can possibly see him coming in this lap though because it is starting to really get damp on that track.
Getting wetter, yeah. Tony stayed out though.
Yeah, looks like we have got a few stopping out currently.
Well, majority of the field have pitted now though, so let's see. Depending on just how wet the track is, if it's wet enough now that the wet tyres are the optimum tyre, getting out early on the wet tyre could gain them a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Damien has got a 16-second advantage on second place here as he's coming down the back straight. So if he can increase that any further in the Audi, then he could be looking for a decent pit stop. But it does look like we are getting cars coming out the pits now on them fresh wet tyres. Nick has left around turn 1. Looks like we've got Nick followed by Myers.
Interestingly, Damien was the driver that, because practice was wet and dried up. Damien was the car that was out on track the most in those conditions.
Yeah, he was. So he will have that bit more experience on them wet tyres. Looks like we've had a spin there from Pivo. Let's see if we can get that replay. Oh, coming out on the fresh tyres as well. Must have just had some nice wet tyres or just overbrake that little bit.
Yeah, those that looks to me like he's changed to the wet tyres, but he's not adjusted his traction control for the wet conditions there.
No.
Normally, when you're driving in the wet, you have your traction control as high as you're comfortable with. The last thing you want to do is like that, spin up your tyres and spin the car.
Yep, so we have got Nicolo right on the back of Tony here, but Tony's still on them dry tyres.
Yeah,
I believe Nicolo is as well, actually.
I think he's losing a lot of time now. Damien's pitted. Yeah, we've got three leaders who haven't pitted yet now dive into the pits. Next car to look for, Loretti's also pitted. And I think Milashev has also pitted. So
it's now Nick. Can Nick catch up? Myers there taking the position off of Nick Trapp as well.
The interesting thing now is whether Nick's made enough time on the wet tyres and the guys in front have lost time spending that extra lap on the dries. I think Damien might be safe out in front, but the others are going to be interesting.
Yeah, it does look like Damien is already on the move on them fresh wet tyres. Obviously, there was a 15, 16-second gap between him and second position there. So if Nick here can get the power down through this last corner, yeah, he's easily going to overtake them, getting back up into second position there.
It's looking that way. Yeah, I think. Although they have started moving now, this could be close into turn one. You see cars coming down the pit lane there. And I think he's got them. I think so.
Yep,
That's Nick Langer up into P2.
it does look like though these guys are going to be coming out into a lot of traffic here.
Yeah, so staying out for that extra lap was not the play. Not the play. You needed to pit. Needed to pit that lap earlier. So
Yeah, Damien
good
obviously had the
call
best
there
advantage.
from Nick. Yeah, Damien had the gap that he was able to hang it out that extra lap. But like say, he had a 16-second gap at the front after staying out that extra lap. The gap down to Nick now is only 11 seconds.
Yeah, definitely. So we're currently on here with Giovan in the BMW.
One of the M4R boys coming up against another M4R team member ahead of him in Tony.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's Tony there. Looks like a lot of this middle to back grid has started bunching back up, so we could still see a lot of action coming up. It does look like in 30 minutes the rain will calm down that little bit as well. Looks like Giovan does take the position over Tony there, but I think Tony just locked up his front brakes as he was going into the corner.
Interesting though, like the weather tracker, let's say the radar, is saying that we're going to get heavier rain in the next 10 minutes before it then clears up. So with the track temperature only being 21 degrees, air temperature being 20 degrees, even when the rain stops, we could still have a wet track for a good few laps after that.
Yeah, it's going to take a while for that racing line really to dry up because water just really needs to be pushed aside. It does look like we do unfortunately have one disconnect. We've dropped down to 19 drivers. 100% who left there, but I'm sure we'll find out after the race. Number 44, Nick there, spinning it off the track, and unfortunately coming into traffic now.
That's unlucky.
Dropping down into fourth position.
Should we have a look at a replay of that?
If I can catch him on it. Yep, so as he's coming up around here, looks like he's getting. Oh,
He's out of shape
flipped
before
on the curb there. Yeah.
Only a small kiss to the wall. That shouldn't be too much damage, hopefully. Just touching that curb on the inside there. The back end was already going before he even got out of the corner. So that advantage he got from staying out that extra lap or pitting a lap early, sorry. That's all gone now.
Yep, definitely.
So he's still in touch with the cars in front. So he's got plenty of time to get that back, and other cars can make mistakes as well.
Oh yeah, we've still got an hour and 44 minutes left on the clock. So with it being wet, a lot of people are going to be unfortunately, messing up, spinning, just catching them curbs just wrong, because obviously we know how nasty curbs can be in the wet.
Well, and this is a track that in the dry you really need to use the curbs to gain the lap time. So it's hard to adapt to not using them so much in the wet.
Yeah, 100% on that one. We do have a pack of 5 here all grouped together, as you can see.
This is some tight racing. We've got 7th all the way down to 11th, 12th here is on the back of him as well. All cars within a second of each other. So this is anyone's race out of this midfield pack here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if they can really pull it through, they're going to be able to make up a lot of time as well. Getting that little bit of extra draft coming down the straights and everything. looks like we do have people really trying to make moves, but it's a part of the track that can be difficult to get round, as you said.
Yeah, it's hard to hang it out around the outside of there and keep the position. Oh, we got a bit of contact there.
Ooh.
I think
Let's
that's
have a look.
fine.
Let's see if we can jump back to
Back
it.
to the
Let's see what
replay.
happens. So as he's coming round, oh, yep, he just tapped his back end there.
I think
It
that's
does straighten him back up, but
I think that's fine.
So can Gianluca here make moves back? He was that little bit faster than him on lap times. Rocking the Aston there.
The Aston's a good car. Put it out there.
Looks like we've got Christian to make a move, and he's braking really late though. Is he gonna? Oh, just misses the back end of the Aston.
That was a great move there. Late on the brakes and then made the corner.
Yeah, I mean that could have also been disastrous, but he did make it move. So
you can hear. Very good maneuver there. You could hear through turn 2 the lift off. That's flat in the dry.
Yeah,
and you can hear all through here. There's very little acceleration.
Oh, that was a bit of a dive there from Christian, but it does give the position back. Coming up behind, it looks like we've got Ivan as well trying to make moves. Just really cutting in tight there.
These are tricky conditions. I'm glad I'm not racing in this.
Looks like Craig is back in the pits as well.
I think he cooked those wet tyres, you know.
Could have. Yeah, they do tend to heat up really quick if they're not got a lot of water to play with on the track. Looks like we've got Ivan here, but trying to make a move, coming down to this nice, sharp, tight left-hander. Ooh, looks like he just overbrakes a little bit.
Deep. Yeah, you can hear the car struggling on traction there. Losing out on the cutback there as well.
This is definitely proven to be some very exciting racing here.
Very good racing here.
Yeah, I think it's just sod's law that the gaming gods gave us a rain on a double points race.
Exactly. There's a lot to play for here. And
looks like we've got Jacob really taking a ride off the track there. Let's see if we can find out what happened.
We've got Craig with the stop go 30 as well. He's really struggling in this race. Bless him.
Yeah, so as Jacob is coming around here, it must be around about here where he just loses it. Yeah, ooh.
Same place as Nick Langer earlier. And it's bumpy really out there. Kicked. I didn't even know it was bumpy out there. I've never been out there.
So we have got a lot of cars bunched back up once again.
Also got Nick Langer in 4th, closing in on Nick Trapp.
Yeah, that Honda must just be performing that a little bit better.
Fights all through the field. Oh, that's some good time in there. Nick Trapp runs, gets the back end out and loses the position.
Let's see if we can catch what happens here. So as he's coming over the curb, just loses a bit and manages to catch it just enough to keep behind.
That's the other thing that's difficult around here in the wet because of the undulations in the track. The weight transfer over the top of that hill. If you've got a bit of steering angle in, you can lose the back end just like that.
Yeah, there is such a massive elevation change in this circuit. Like 1 minute you're downhill, next minute you're uphill. You know, you don't know which way you're going.
Exactly.
Quite a bumpy track as well, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Oh, we did have a good shunt there. I'll pull it up as well. Let's see what happened from
We've also had
Gio's that point of view.
Nick Langer's gone off somewhere as well, dropped back down to 4th.
Yep, so as he's coming down the straight here, gets heavy on the brakes, ready for the corner. Yeah, he
What
just got really slammed in.
car number was that?
I'm just trying to find it. It is a BMW, I know that much. Hristo, that is 169.
169. 10-second penalty.
Yeah, I'd probably say 5 to 10 seconds there because that was a really good shunt. Obviously, it's been wet now for a fair few laps, so the braking point should start to be relevant now.
Yeah, that's going to be a 10-second penalty there. So let's get that handed out. Got live steward in here as well. So, oops, type in.
Ooh, Nicolo just taking it wide there, coming off of the S's, so he's got a really tight angle coming up the hill here. He is hot on the tail of Nick Langer.
169.
Looks like we have Gianluca off the track again, but from that hit, he will have sustained rear end damage from that one.
Oh, 100%.
So the diffuser will definitely not be playing to his favour to keep them back wheels planted into the floor. Yeah, just loses it, just coming through the S's there. Just really can't get it straightened back up, and unfortunately just spins into the grass and gravel.
That's a good save from it going in the wall, though.
So jumping on with Giovan here. Looks like Craig is also serving his stop and go 30. I love how chat can see more than what we're looking at. Oh, okay. Nicolo just really coming off the track there. Let's see if we can catch that one. Now, Ali's coming round. Just loses the back end, snaps on him, and he just really can't get it slowed down quick enough before he hits the gravel there. So he will lose 2 positions there, unfortunately. Nick hot on the tail of... Yeah, looks like we do have another spin. Antonio. I do keep on checking these guys just to make sure that no one is actually obviously causing any shunts. So help Matt out with his stewarding.
Very good.
Yeah, just loses it there and just unfortunately spins it. Looks like Nick does take the position over Nick Trapp. Let's see if we can catch the overtake. No, unfortunately not.
I can't see the dive bomb you're looking at. We'll have to review after the race.
Yeah, we'll find it after the race and issue penalties accordingly. I mean, if it was a safe dive bomb, fair play to them, but obviously we don't want any incidents or
Hey, thanks for
problems.
the follow, Salvo Racing. Appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying the stream here. Yeah, some carnage. Definitely carnage, Dino. One of them races. Oh, it looks like the weather is actually not going to improve. So the rain was looking like it was going to stop. Looks like at least for the next 30 minutes we're going to continue to have rain. It is going to decrease its intensity a little bit, but then it's going to increase again. So yeah, continuing with the rain for the next foreseeable.
Yeah, you are seeing a nice driving line really starting to appear through this track now. So that's where they'll be able to find the grip and hopefully catch up and make moves. The only problem is obviously if you really just come off that line, you can really lose time as well.
We got Damien with a 25-second gap out front to Myers.
Yep, Craig there looks to be in the middle of the track. Let's see if we can catch his spin by the looks of things. Yeah, just really losing the back end, just can't seem to catch it. But just parks it up nice in the middle of the track, so it can
The key
pass
thing is
easily.
to be predictable. There's a car coming, stick your brakes on and stay where you are. Good example of that from Craig there.
Looks like we've got our first drive through come through, Matt.
Oh, we have. Drive through for
Pete,
Pever. So,
Peter.
just in case track limits weren't hard enough on this track, put a bit of rain on, makes it even harder.
Yeah, definitely. And well, especially if you're just slipping out as well, and you're just really trying to catch it, it can cause a lot of issues. I mean, does chat want to see any specific driver? We can jump onto them for a little bit.
I
Don't
tell
be
you,
afraid to put in a request.
I tell you who we haven't seen in this race yet. Neil Aldridge, minding his own business in P13. He's
Looks like,
closing in on Pever.
yeah, the only Nissan on the track as well, Matt. Only Nissan.
It's not the easiest car to drive at the best of times, but I I drove with Neil at the weekend, and we drove the Aston Martin, and I think he's probably going to be changing to the Aston Martin after this season ends. But for the time
Well,
being, sticking with the Nissan, running a little bit wide there. So
yeah, just
back up
currently
to the
back on with Giovan here because he is at 0.4 seconds away from that fifth position over Tony. Tony seems to be struggling with this track.
this conditions as well could play into it. But if with this being Tony runs a bit wide there. Let's
Yep,
Skamika through. With this
Damien
being
having a
quite
spin.
it's
Well, I
interesting.
don't know what's happened to the game footage there as well. Okay, Damien seems to be lagging, having issues. Everyone else appears to be. Oh no, Myers. The top two appear to be a bit laggy, unfortunately.
Not a problem. You get these kind of things from time to time when you're streaming live racing. But yeah, Tony kind of struggling, and I think a lot of it, with this being quite a new track, a lot of these drivers probably haven't driven here in the wet before. Whether they practiced the wet this week, who knows? But yeah, with it being quite new, quite new to ACC, a lot of these probably haven't driven in these conditions before.
Yeah, I mean the track has only been on the game about a month now, two tops,
2 months, I
I
think. Yeah.
think. Yeah.
So is this your game? Is this the game that's struggling, server struggling, or the stream that's struggling?
No, I'm not 100% sure what is happening with. It's only the top two. The rest appear to
I'm getting a little bit of
be.
stuttering with all of them from time to time at the minute.
I mean, that could just be a netcoding issue,
Yeah,
unfortunately. I could have something running
it's
in the
not too
background
bad.
that I shouldn't have. Um,
So it's hard to tell these M4R boys apart, but I think Tony's got back ahead.
yeah. Apologies for that. Yeah. Graphics driver update is downloaded, so that could be the issue there. Looks like we have got Giovan hot on the tail there of Roshi. Jacob as well in that nice, beautiful pink Ferrari.
Brosnack there trying to make the move. Still very close racing in the midfield. We got what, P6 down to P9, or P5, sorry, all the way down to P9, all within a second of each other. So a lot of close racing going on. 4 of the M4R boys there, all fighting it out, and Jacob Rosanek in the M4R sandwich.
Yep, it's either a brilliant place to be because he's catching a lot of broken air from the BMWs in front of him, helping that Ferrari really power down. and he is keeping well on the track as well. So I think as long as he keeps up the pace, obviously you're gonna have to start pitching for tires and everything in the next 20 minutes or so, or even fuel if you've literally only just swapped to the wets and you just wanted to get straight back out.
Yeah, I mean the good thing with driving in the wet, your fuel consumption does go down quite a lot. So these wet tires should be like the track's wet enough that they shouldn't be damaging these tires too much, unless they obviously spin and or kind of have a lockup somewhere. I think it's going to help. Obviously, we don't know what the weather conditions are going to be like for the rest of the race. But the thing is, if you pit too early now and put another set of wet tires on, you run the risk that if the track does dry up, you've got to pit again to put the dries on. So it's kind of a bit of a waiting game, really. See what the weather does. Really push it to as far as you can with the fuel. Like I'd even be running a lower fuel map here, just to try and like eke that out, just in case the dry weather does come again towards the end of the race.
Yeah, it's all about that fuel consumption. I do agree with you on that point.
Got Schema
Yeah.
right on the back here of Rosnek alongside. Looks like he's got the move done.
He is in front of him, but if Jacob does get a bit of a title
He got the
line,
cut back, but I think the next corner's a right-hander, so Schema's got the inside line there. Oh, but he runs a little bit wide. And Rosanek gets back through, and now Schema's coming back through. And a bit of a spin.
Just a bit there.
So we've got the four M4R boys all together on track now.
Yep.
So still some really tight racing here. I know Rosanek made the mistake there, but he's only lost a couple of seconds. So I think with these guys all fighting, he could be on the back of this again quite soon.
Yeah,
so,
definitely. And Christian there taking the position over Tony.
Yep.
Making up fifth
runs
position.
a little bit wide though. Tony's got the inside line. I think he's dropped back a little bit in traction now. Yeah, we got Rocky well in front into turn one.
So jumping onto the helmet cam here, so we can see what's happening through the car of Tony's eyes here.
We got an M4R train, yeah.
A lot of gear changes coming through from Tony coming through here. Just really trying to keep them wheels planted as much as he can to keep that speed rolling on.
You see on his dash there, he's running a high traction control and a high ABS, which you kind of got to do in these conditions.
But he is also still running map 1 there as well, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, map 1 is obviously the most optimal map of the car.
Well, it is for most cars. I'm not 100% sure if it is on the BMW, but chances are it probably is.
I think rain is about 5 or 6 on the BMW. I mean, as you said, I'm not 100%, but
look, in normal races in the wet. That's a
Ivan really going for a lunge there.
That's a great move. I thought he'd overcooked it on the braking zone, but that was a great move. Yeah, under normal racing in the wet, I'd still be running map 1. I don't really tend to turn it down, but like I say, with this being a long race and we're not quite sure when the weather is going to change, if it even is going to change, I'd be trying to just hang it out as long as possible. And in the wet, like I say, fuel consumption is down on all maps anyway, so even map 1 you'll be able to stretch that fuel out a bit longer. You're spending less time on the accelerator. You're not accelerating anywhere near as hard as you would be in the dry. But even so, you could probably save even more fuel by going to a lower fuel map.
Yeah, 100%. And as you say, with the amount of water that is currently on the track, you're not going to be chewing them tires that much unless you are either spinning them up or braking too heavily. So yeah, if they can keep their fuel right and make sure they're getting it correct, it could be a very long stint for them.
We've got Rosenet right on the back of Screamer again, 0.2 seconds behind. Obviously through the S's it's not really an overtaking opportunity, but like I said, I think with the M4R cars all fighting, he's got right on the back quite quickly. Hey, thanks for the follow, 6Car. Appreciate it, man. Hope you're enjoying the stream.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, you can see all the cars here really struggling, and looking like the rain's going to intensify in the next 10 minutes. So we could be in for some more exciting racing. Who's this we've got going slowly ahead of us? Is that Green Tree? That might be Green Tree ahead going slowly.
Where are we looking?
The silver, I think that's the Bentley ahead. Green Tree.
Yes, that is. Yes, that's is Justin Greentree there in the Bentley. I've never driven the Bentley, so I couldn't tell you how it handles in the rain.
Well, they do call it the Bentley, but I don't think that's because of its rain driving conditions.
No, probably not there.
I also don't know how it handles in the wet. I think all of the cars really, if you have the right setup, you can make them work in the rain. Obviously, with the start of the race being dry, I don't know how many of these drivers opted for a dry setup and they've just put wet tyres on.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose that is a huge factor that came into that.
We've had, I think, Rocky's spun somewhere. We've had Skamika and Frasina have both just got past.
Let's jump back 1 minute, see if we can try and catch it. Now, as we're watching him here coming around the back end of the track, just has a little bit of a lock up there coming over the curb. I think it was around about here that he must have ran it out. Yeah, just got really, really unsettled there, and yeah, just kicks it. Oh, a big hit to the wall though.
Yeah, a big hit.
Big hit.
We've seen a lot of cars struggling around that corner though. It's a fast corner, and in these conditions, it's not easy.
No, definitely not. And he does unfortunately lose 2 positions there to the rest of the M4R guys. Jumping back on with Jacob here, still fighting at the back.
We also just had Skamika drop down 2 places as well, from 5th to 7th, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. You want to jump back 30 seconds?
That's right. If we catch it.
I think we just missed it. But yeah, it must have had a little bit of an incident there.
Yeah. Yeah. Fortunately, we don't catch that one. Jacob still riding behind Screamer as well. Just 0.2 seconds away.
There's some great racing in the midfield. Yes, we can see the gaps. We're working on something for future streams. We haven't quite got it ready for today, and we've got Jacob there making the move on the inside. Screamer hangs it in on the outside, takes the inside line for the next corner, but Roseneck puts it around the outside. Can he hang on to it around the outside there? Looks like Screamer just gets the inside line and pulls it back. But it's still very close between these two as we come back up to turn 1. Not quite close enough to make the move there. Yeah, it is something we're working on, and I think we're hoping to have it ready
I will
next
be
week
right
or
back,
the
Matt.
week after. No problem. So we'll stick with this battle. This, I think, is the closest battle we've got on track at the minute. So Rosanek still right on the tail of Screamer here. But Screamer's also caught up to Rocky as well. We've got a three-way fight going on for 7th place. So coming down through turn 10, into turn 11, it's almost a hairpin. Can anyone get a good run on this back straight? Like the slipstream should be quite powerful down here with the length of it. So who's going to be brave on the brakes here? I think Rosanek might be a little bit too far back to make a move. Yeah, he's a little bit too far back on this occasion. But he seems to be really strong in the last sector. Seems to be where he's getting right on the back of Screamer. So that Ferrari's really good in these slower corners towards the end of the lap. That's, I think, where he's making up most of the time. See, he's right behind now. Can he get close enough to make a move somewhere? Going for the outside. A little bit wide there. It's risky. I think we might have had a disconnect there. Or I think it was car 63. Didn't see what happened there, so we'll have to check that after the race. But yeah, still a little bit far back, Rosanek here. But he is still right in touching distance. It's pretty much single file through the S's in the dry, and definitely is in the wet, so he's just going to have to follow him through here. And he's dropped back a little bit. Coming through turn 9 here. I think he's closer here than he's been the last couple of laps as we come through turn 10 down to turn 11. Oh, that's close. Runs a little bit wide, but he gets a good exit there. He is right in the slipstream down this back straight. Let's see if he can get enough top end speed out of that Ferrari. Almost bump drafting down the back straight there. Who's got the braking? Screamer moves to the inside and covers off the move. But Rosanek's going for the inside into the next corner. No, he's not quite got enough there. But then Screamer runs wide and Rosanek's through. So that's P7 for Rosanek. Let's see if Screamer's got anything to fight back here. So this is still the closest battle that we've got on track. So we'll stick with this one for now. We've got Screamika in P6. We've got 1.2 seconds back to Rosanek here, and then Screamer's only another 0.7 seconds behind. So we've still got a three-way fight going on here for P6. So the weather doesn't look like it's getting any better still. So at the minute it's looking like it's going to be wet for at least the next 30 minutes, probably longer because the rain's going to intensify over the next 30 minutes. So I have a sneaking suspicion this could be wet till the end of the race now. which means pit stops are going to be important. So who's going to choose when to pit, or who's going to pit first, and try and get the fresh tyres and make up some time. A little bit wide there from Rosnek. Down through turn 10, into turn 11 again. Gap has kind of stabilised at around about a second now, between P6 and P7 and P7 and P8. So about a second or 2 seconds between these three cars, a second between each. As we come down the back straight, they should bunch up a little bit due to the slipstreams, but I don't think anyone's going to be close enough to make a move here. So, following Rosanek still. We come around towards the end of the lap. We've got 4 more corners to go on this lap. It looks like he has closed the gap a little bit to Skamika. We've got about a 0.6 second gap at the minute. So coming around into the penultimate corner. Still at about 0.6 of a second, so he is closing slowly. Round the last corner onto the start-finish straight. Oh, looks like Skamika ran a bit wide there, and Rosanek's got a good run. Can he be later on the brakes? No, he's probably a little bit far back here. Still a really good battle we've got going on here, though. This midfield battle has been really, really great in this race. Runs a little bit wide there. Nothing too major. Still at about 0.6 of a second behind. So it looks like Peever's picked up another drive-through here. It's got to be for track limits, because we haven't handed any more penalties out. Can Rosanek close this gap? But that's the question at the minute. BMW though looks like it's got great straight line speed on the back straight. Like Rosanek's really struggling to close even in the slipstream. So coming down into turn 12. Keeps it nice and neat and tidy. So coming back round to the back end of the track. Ooh, that's a little bit wide. You don't want to run over them sausage curbs too much. Let's let Screamer close up the gap. See, has Screamer got the run on him? Can he get the run onto the start-finish straight now that he's closed that gap up again? Oh, that's a bit of a slide there, but manages to save it. Just about. That has really closed the gap up. And Rosanek runs wide. So it's a drag race now into turn 1 between Rosanek and Screamer. Looks like Rosanek's got the edge at the minute, but Screamer's got the inside line. And Rosanek hangs it out around the outside, and it looks like he's done enough to maintain the position for now. So back down through the S's. Really not an overtaking opportunity through here. You've just got to follow the car in front. It's pretty much single file, especially in these conditions. Some great close racing here. So Screamer's right on the back of Rosanek still, as we come through turn 9. Through the little kink of turn 10. and down into the braking zone for turn 11. Let's see here. So Screamer looks to get the better exit onto the back straight. Can he make the move down into turn 12? So closing that gap. Straight line speed advantage that that BMW has. Has he got enough on the brakes? No, not quite this lap. Maybe next lap, or down into turn 1 maybe. Thing is with these conditions as well, like if the car in front makes a bit of a mistake, oh, we got contact there.
And I'm back.
That's unfortunate. Bit of contact there.
Let's see if they continue. Replay. Yep,
a little bit ambitious there. He does wait and give the position back.
Yep, so there we go, a bit of sportsmanship there.
Are we penalising that? 5 seconds, no, or because they waited?
No, I think because he waited and happily gave the position back. I mean, he's not right up behind him again, is this? So, honestly, I don't think that deserves a penalty there.
Okay.
I mean, also from the looks thing, it just ended up locking up and just sliding straight into him, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think a bit of leniency in the wet as well goes a little way.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not the easiest conditions. Point proven. So the rain is intensifying at the minute, but then it does look like it's going to calm down a bit in the next 30 minutes. So yeah, while you're gone, Maya's disconnected from P2.
Oh, did he? That's unfortunate.
Looks like, yeah, Roseneck was ahead anyway. Why it's saying he's made the overtake.
Yeah, so it does look like the grid is spreading out a bit far, a few between a little bit. I mean, these are our closest guys on track, unfortunately. Oh, looks like Peaver there having a bit of a fight coming into the pits.
This is for his drive-through here.
Yep, this is for his drive-through.
Second drive-through for track limits. So yeah, with Roseneck and Screamer fighting, it's allowed Marandino to catch up to the two of them as well. So only 3 seconds between those 3 cars now.
Yeah, let's just have a quick look at our leader here. He's currently nearly 1 minute ahead of Nick Langer, who's in second place. Really getting the hammer down in that Audi on this wet track. It looks like Screamer as well, getting up nice and close and personal to Jacob once again. Oh, looks like we just had a bit of a run off the track there from one of the M4R guys. Oh, it does look like he does make the move stick there, though. Nicolo getting right in front of Jacob through T1. So both now are heading down the S's. Can Jacob catch back up? Looks like we also do have Jovan in the pits as well. Nick Aldridge, unfortunately, there coming off a track in the exact same spot that we've been having a lot of trouble with recently.
A lot of people struggling there. Does look like the weather's going to dry up there in the next 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So, if anyone is pitting now, they're kind of at a disadvantage with that extra pit stop. But then, if they haven't got enough fuel, they've got no choice. Would have thought though, with it only just past the hour mark, fuel shouldn't really start being an issue just yet.
Well, you'd like to think so, but then it also depends on how much fuel they actually put in. If they were just aiming for that 1 hour stint originally, they would have put in enough fuel for that 1 hour mark. But you would have thought as well that it took them a bit over that 1 hour mark with it being wet, as you say, you'd use less fuel.
Yeah, I
So
think if you fuel it for an hour in the dry, you're probably going to get an hour and 20 in the wet. That's my rough calculations going on in my brain here. And obviously then you can save a bit more with fuel maps and stuff as well. So depending on what people are running, that could come into the equation.
yeah, 100%. I'd say it does look like we're spreading out far and few between. So got a nice little macro here, so we can just sit going through the cars a little bit. Hopefully your favorite driver will pop up. We will obviously keep a close eye on who's getting ready for an overtake.
Yeah, we've got Nick Trapp doing a good job in third place, really. Not really seen too much of him, just been keeping to himself. He's been I think he's been slowly catching Nick in second. Gap at the minute is 4.4 seconds between those two.
Yeah, they're having hit and miss with that. I think he keeps on catching up, but then he
Yeah.
also does keep on dropping that a little bit behind. But then it is hit and miss, and it only takes one little slip or mess up, and then he is within the time frame of getting straight back up into second place there. So currently on board with PV here. He did have 2 drive-throughs so far as well, so really struggling with the track limits on this one. Currently on with Giles Watkins here in the Porsche. I bet that's a lovely time in that car in the wet.
Struggles on this track as it is, to be honest, because it might bring it back into it a little bit more, because obviously in the wet straight line speed isn't so important. It does look like we've got a retirement. Looks like Justin Greentree's been in the pits for a few laps now, so I think that could be a retirement. Got a yellow flag for Craig somewhere as well at the minute. Don't know what's happening with him.
Seems to be struggling with this track in the car, I do believe. I keep on seeing him really slowing down as well, so he might be having some technical issues with his wheel, unfortunately, but we don't know. And we can confirm that Justin here is retiring from the race, so he will not be joining us back on track. So we're at the 1 hour mark. We're now halfway through the race. Been a very exciting one so far. Had a lot of spins, had a couple of bumps, but other than that, it's been pretty clean. I'm quite impressed with how clean it's been.
Yeah, especially with the conditions as well. It's very easy to snatch a break and lock up and slide into the car in front of you. It's like we've got a yellow flag on Loretti at the minute.
It
Down
looks
in
like
P15.
he just had a bit of a spin out there.
That's cleared now. Got Skamika right behind Seabrook. Do you want to jump to that action?
Yep.
Obviously, Skamika's just pitted for the fresh tyres. So can he make the most of these fresh tyres?
And he does. He just gets straight in front of the Porsche there. Unfortunately,
Seabrook struggling, I think, a little bit in these conditions. But yeah, Skamika makes the move. It's now got a 25-second gap to close up to Milishev in P9. So keep an eye on that. See if he makes some headway. Like I say, the fresh... Oh, not like that.
Ooh, no. Oh, a bit of a risky rejoin there as well, especially on that corner.
Just about okay, I think. Tight, but just about okay.
That's why I said it was risky.
Yeah. But yeah, it's these conditions aren't getting any easier at the minute.
No, it looks like the rain is going to come down a
The
little bit
rain,
heavier with these guys, and then it will start clearing up.
yeah, that rain is intensifying at the minute. That should, I think, obviously he's just come out the pit, Skamika, so maybe these tires aren't quite up to temperature yet, but should
Yeah,
give him an advantage being on the fresh tires. I would have thought maybe even a second, if not more, a lap.
yeah, he could have fiddled as well with his tire temperatures, because obviously the temperature has dropped. Oh no, it hasn't dropped. My apologies, but with sticking them wets on first, so you don't really know what your tire temperatures really need to be at, do you? So they might have tinkered with them a tiny bit. And
Could
just to
have done.
confirm, we have had our second retirement of the race, Craig. He has chosen not to continue tonight. So Seabrook getting really nice and close behind. Let's jump on board with him as we're coming down into this corner.
Move into turn 12 there. Turn 11, sorry.
Yeah, looking like he has made the move and he's made it stick that little bit, but obviously on this straight, the BMW would have a little bit more legs, I'd presume. Yep, there he is.
Yeah, I'd expect him to. Yeah, look, he's already passed him well before the braking zone.
Yep, looks like Seabrook does go for a little bit of a later braking point there.
Going for the cutback. He's made it work.
Yep, and
Great
he gets
fighting
it.
we've got between these two.
Gets it made ready for the corner, but still going a little bit wide. Does tuck it in though, and it looks like Givan had to just pull back that little bit there, just to get through nice and clean. Really just
tough.
coasting through here.
You don't think he's gone for the dry tyres, do you? Can't have done. These conditions are getting treacherous though. Look at this.
Yeah, I think it could just be, the puddles forming back on the track, because with the torrential rain, that dry spot will have, started to get drenched up again, won't it?
Exactly, yeah. There's not
they've
really
got to
any
find a
dry
line
line
through.
here now.
Yeah, they've really got to find the line back through. Ivan there, just coming off the track by the looks of things.
So I think Damien might have had a bit of a mistake somewhere on the last lap. He dropped 5 seconds to Nick Langer, but there's still a healthy gap of 53 seconds. So
yeah,
when you've got that big a gap, you can afford to have a little bit of a look. Even Damien's struggling here.
Yeah, 100%.
All of these drivers are going to be praying for that dry weather that looks to be coming.
It depends if it stays though. That's the issue, isn't it?
True. Looks like Skamika's still right on the back of Seabrook as well.
Oh, Damien locking up there, coming in through 10-11.
Going to jump to the Skamika Seabrook battle.
Yeah, let's see if it can make
right
anything
on the tail. Would expect him to close that gap again down this straight. Struggles a little bit on traction out of the corner there though. The Porsche does get away a little bit, but you can see this gap just closing down this straight.
Yeah, Giovanna's really pulled out his fishing rod here and then just pulling in that bait.
Yeah, the speed difference between these two cars down this straight is just massive. A little bit wide there. I don't
think there was any contact there, though.
There wasn't. Ooh, that's.
I don't think that was contact.
No contact. These conditions are treacherous. You can see it's just a battle to keep the car on the track at the minute.
Yeah,
that gets the move done by Skamika, puts him up into P10.
Yep, coming around the treacherous corner though, where we've seen a lot of people crash out around here. As you can see, really struggling to keep that back end actually stuck to the track.
Back end, front end, all of it. Struggling to keep all of it on the track.
It's the back end when they're turning, it's the front end on the braking.
Yeah. Runs a little bit wide, but I think he's got the. Oh no! It looks like the drive out of that last corner that Seabrook's able to get.
He's managing to keep on his tail, though. Will he go for a move on turn 1? Looks like he does break for it.
Some great battles between these two.
Yeah, just really fighting for that 10th position here.
A little bit wide there.
Ooh.
Not an overtaking opportunity there, unfortunately.
No, I think around here, this bit is really just sit back behind him and just wait for you to move around the next part of the track. Especially if Giovanni can keep up behind Seabrook here, because the moment he gets onto the straight, he will have the legs to get past him.
That's what we've seen, and I'd expect that to continue. Watching this car is making me hungry. Don't quite know why.
It's all right. I've got my tea sat on the side out there, so. Oh, Giovanni getting really nice and tight up to Seabrook there, but unfortunately Seabrook is getting that bit of a better run as he goes down the straight. And I didn't change my view distance in my mirror once again.
Switch to the car at the back then. Chasing car. We'll have some chase cam on the chasing car. Is it not close enough for a move on this lap, unfortunately?
No, we could have done if. Yeah, it looks like he does try and really get back onto the track. Look to the right side there. Does Giovanni see him? He does, because he breaks to take the outer side line. Seabrook just slotting back in. If he did stick that corner well, he would have been able to really get a little bit of a time ahead of Seabrook.
Looks like we've got Marandino in the pits. That could be an interesting time for a stop if he puts another set of wet tyres on, with the dry weather potentially coming in a few laps. But then, if he hasn't got the fuel, he's got no choice.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. We're getting to really the marker where we're going to see a lot of people pitting, and unfortunately they'll have to pit again because with the weather potentially drying up. But it does also depend when that drying up does actually start to occur. It might be worth sticking with the wets with how wet the track is.
Yeah, I think that's the gamble that people are going to have to make, is if they put the dry tyres on before the track's ready, are they going to lose more time than what it would cost to have an extra pit stop? So we've got Loretti with a yellow flag in P15. Back on track now, so
I think that was just
a
bit
little off track. Yeah, this is still the closest battle on track, so 0.8 of a second between these two.
Yeah, everyone else appears to be at least 2 seconds from their closest rival.
Yep. Next closest battle forming is probably Screamer catching up to Rocky. Got about 3.1, 3.2 seconds between those two. I think at this stage of the race, though, it really is more of a case of keep the car on the island.
Yeah, definitely. If they could really start to either struggle or bring it back, especially with the potential weather change coming. And as we've just said, with only 50 minutes left to go in the race, it could just be worth sticking with the wet tyres and seeing how far you can get it going, and just try not to overcook them, because there will still be puddles on the track at this point.
Yeah, I think if it doesn't rain again by the end of the race, we might start to see dry conditions. But I think the wet tyres can still drive in the dry for a few laps before they start to really overheat too much. So that could be the strategy. It'd be interesting to see what people do, because obviously I don't think it's going to be too long now before this rain stops, and we start to see the track drying up. Already starting to see that drier line starting to form. Oh, that corner again.
Yeah, smacks into the wall, unfortunately. And just slots back in there. Looks like Ivan, he's having a bad time around that corner as well. So
it's really tough out there.
yeah, definitely.
So yeah,
It's
Screamer's closed the gap quite a bit here on Rocky. We've got 2 seconds between these two now, so I wonder if that traffic there has come into play. I think that's Piva that's the back marker. So I wonder if that's come into play and just held Rocky up a bit.
put it on. I mean, there's not really that many places to go on this track, especially in the wet, because you're just going to slip and slide everywhere, unfortunately. Um, so you've really got to pick your overtaking point with precision, otherwise you're going to start struggling. And even just back markers, when they're getting out of the way, it's going to be an issue, isn't it, with the conditions of the
We've got
track?
a car pit in there. Who's that? 27. Rocky. Rocky's in the pits.
Yep. So
So
it looks like Nicolo does take the position now up to fifth.
yep. So Rocky, I think it's far too early for the dry tyres yet. You can still see the rain still coming down. It looks like it is getting lighter, but I think you're gonna, if you risk going onto dry tyres right now, you're gonna lose far too much time. So I think the only choice really pitting at this point is to stick with the wet tyres and hope that the track either stays wet or that you can hang them in there till the end of the race.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, the grid is now far and few between. There's currently not any close battles, unfortunately. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I mean, it only takes one bad accident, and it can cause people to catch up very quickly. So
Mellish, where's Rocky gonna come out of the pits? Because that could be the battle to watch. If he can get
and
those fresh tyres to work when he comes out, depending on who is near. I think
does
we've
look like he's to 12, 13, maybe 15 seconds away from P8 with Seabrook behind him at 13 seconds.
had a brief yellow flag for Neil Aldridge there. It seems like he's got going again. Yellow flag for Nick Trapp in P3.
Just looks like he's doing
Bit of
donuts around the
spin
track
there.
there.
Have a quick look back at that incident there. That's like Tony Frasina closed right up behind him. So 2.4 seconds behind those two now.
15 seconds was not long enough, unfortunately. But it must have, as it was coming down, it must have just
Lost it
clipped
on
that
the
curve.
exit there. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, Tony's closing right up behind him.
yeah, now 2 seconds away, but Nick has been lapping that a little bit better, I do believe.
But a little incident like that can hit your confidence as well. Like it's hard to then the next lap you come round, it's hard to hit that corner at full pace like you would do normally. So we see the gap come down a little bit to 1.7 seconds. So it looks like Tony might have smelt a bit of blood in the water there.
Yeah, he'll definitely be on the hunt. He'll be casting out that line, hopefully being able to reel him in, because obviously the BMW does have one of the best straight line speeds.
But then so does the
So
Audi.
I think the BMWs were still that tiny bit ahead of it, but not by much. But it will be able to probably knock off like 1 or 2 tenths going up that straight.
Yeah, with the slipstream, definitely. So it's just a case of getting in the slipstream. So it's dropped back out to 1.9 seconds. It's kind of fluctuating now between 1.7, 1.9, just depending on whereabouts in the track we are. As you see, Watkins goes into the pits from P14. But yeah, Tony's closing up a little bit down the straight. We're at a gap. The gap's currently 1.6 seconds. Can he get in that slipstream and really make an impact on Nick Trapp here? So Nick Langer in second's been closing the gap to Damien a little bit. So we're 49
Damien,
seconds between our first two at the minute.
yeah, he's had about 3, 4 spins, Damien, as well.
Yeah.
I keep on noticing a yellow flag popping up for him.
I think
But
everyone's been having a few spins.
yeah, Damien does also currently hold the fastest lap of a 2:08. So
Yeah,
that was
that
obviously at the start of the
yeah, that
race.
that was in the dry. We're currently doing, I think the fastest lap times we're getting at the minute are about 2:25. So, just for context, we're about 13 seconds a lap slower than what we were at the start of the race. Sorry, more than that. I can't do maths this evening. 17 seconds. Yeah, Tony's closed right up here. It's just about a second back now behind Nick Trapp. So let's see if
Putting
he
in
can
a
continue.
2:26 there, and Nick putting a 2:27. So if he carries it on, he will be catching it roughly 1 second a lap.
He's lost a bit through turn one there, though. Goes back up to 1.5. So this is currently the closest battle we've got on track. So we'll stick with this one for now.
Yep, and it does look like the rain will soon be finishing. So obviously, then for me, I'd just stick with the wet, see if I can get him to the end.
I think it really depends on when you need to pit for fuel. I think if you've got to pit for fuel in the next 3 or 4 laps, definitely wet. I think if you can go a bit further than that, you might start to come into the territory where it's worth hanging it out on the dries for the track to dry out at the end. That's the gamble. Pete, as we see Peaver in the pits, must be for his pit stop here.
Yeah, as I said, there was one mandatory pit stop at the beginning of all this, but obviously, with it being a 2-hour race, you'd normally have at least that one anyway. And obviously, with the rain, it's caused a lot more people to do a lot more stops.
Variable conditions are great. Like every race should be variable conditions.
Yeah, definitely.
Not the ones I'm racing in, but the ones I'm commentating on, definitely.
Yeah, I think even racing them, it adds that bit
I
more of
do enjoy racing in
a
it. I'm
good
not gonna
element.
lie.
The only thing I don't like is when you have a wet race and it's just an entire wet race. I like that bit of deviation in it where you have to think of your strategy, where you're going to go with it.
I mean, I still enjoy a wet race all the way through, but then I think it kind of levels the playing field a little bit. I seem to be quite strong in the wet relative to the faster guys compared to in the dry, so I don't know. It's hard work. You definitely get out of your rig at the end of it drenched in sweat, that's for sure. And I'm sure a lot of these drivers will be tonight.
Yeah, definitely with it being a 2-hour race. It does look like Tony is dropping back that a little bit as well. So what we'll do is we'll start flicking through the driving again, keeping an eye on the timings. Let's start it with our leader here. On board with Damien. Looks like he does have a bit of a lock up there, but uses that to his advantage to really rotate the car around that corner.
Yeah.
Currently now jump to Christian here.
So
I don't know if it's just me or the BMW seems to be really struggling through this tight section in the wet here.
I think everyone we've seen most of the cars really struggle through this section. To be honest, I think the trouble is, like I said earlier, with the undulations of the terrain through there and the curb on the inside that you really need to take in the dry. It's very hard to stay away in the wet, and we've seen how that can over rotate the car coming through the corner exit. But Rocky here pitted for a new set of wet tyres a few laps back. He's closing up on Milashev ahead of him by about 3 seconds a lap at the minute, I think. Looking at the timings.
That's obviously got to be the advantage of fresh tyres because Milashev, I don't think he has pitted yet. Still waiting for his pit stop to come through.
Yeah, and obviously when he does, he's got that 10-second penalty to take as well. So that's going to cost him a few places at least.
I mean, looking at the timings, it could possibly cost him 1 or 2 places. Currently on board with Antonio here. He has unfortunately been struggling quite a bit because he qualified quite well, if I remember.
Yeah, I think Loretti was towards the top 5.
Yeah,
I think he's had a couple of brushes with the wall, which haven't helped him out. And I think he might have pitted for another set of wets as well. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see where it all pans out after everyone gets the pit stop in.
yeah, it does look like he's going to give the position there to Piva, who just takes on the inside.
Just couldn't get the car stopped there.
No, and Piva did have a qualification penalty as well, I believe. Let me double check my information there. Yeah, Piva did have a qualification penalty. So he has brought it back quite well, I believe. Up in 13th position.
Got a yellow flag for Damien. Still got a yellow. He's moving again now. I think he ran wide there at turn 15.
Yeah, it's a very slippy part of the track as well, that area, isn't it? Because
Exactly.
you're going uphill, so
all of the track's very slippery at the minute.
Well, off the track is, yeah, and you know that Audi gets a bit lively when the wheel starts spinning, doesn't it? So
exactly.
So only 36 minutes remaining left on the clock. We've seen a lot of exciting racing coming through, everyone.
Hopefully we've still got some more exciting racing to come.
Yeah, and next track I do believe is...
You're having to check now, aren't you?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Could help you out, but I'll let you struggle.
Imola, that's it. I knew it was either Imola or Alton Park, and I didn't want to get it wrong. But yeah, our next track is Imola on the 24th of October. That is back to a 1-hour race, which Imola is obviously quite a popular track. Not a lot of places to overtake, but it is fast in my eyes, so we could see a lot of overtaking and position stealing happening there.
Oh, and who knows what the weather gods will bring us.
Yep, it could be either be scorching hot or lovely and wet like it is today.
So it looks like Peever's picked up another drive-through for track limits. That made me jump. Thanks for the follow, Andrea. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I don't actually hear them. I only get to see them when they pop up on the stream.
So where have we got battles? So Rocky has closed right up on Milishev. 2.6 seconds the gap now.
Yeah, I did see what is all Tony is close, keeping around the 2-second mark. It looks like Justin has regained the track after declaring a retirement. Okay. I mean, he is down in last place, so as long as they don't cause trouble, I can't really see.
No, there's no harm in going back out on track, get a bit of practice in. He is obviously 17 laps down on the leaders now, but
he was obviously sat there watching the race and just thought, I'll have another play.
Have another play.
Yeah, so currently on with Palmeiras in the Aston. He has been struggling with the wet conditions in this Aston, and it does look like the rain has stopped as well.
So this is where it gets interesting.
See, for me, the track is definitely still too wet for switching to the dry. if you're going to do it, you'd probably give it a lap or two before you did even think about jumping into it.
Well,
Uh,
honestly, if you had to pit now, it's a tough call between the wets and the dries. The temperature has raised a little bit, so we've got 26 degrees track temperature. So with we've got a black screen. There we go,
there we
we're
go.
back.
It's back.
With 17 cars running around the track, it's probably only going to be 2 or 3 laps before the dry tyres are possible. So all just depends on how much fuel these cars have got.
Yeah. It could be a very interesting turn of events that we see. I mean, I think Damien has pretty much run away with it unless something drastic does happen.
Nick has been slowly closing that gap. We're down at 43 seconds now. Still a huge gap, but so I think Craig's going to rejoin the race because he doesn't want Justin to beat him.
Yeah, so Craig is 2 laps ahead of Justin, so we'll have to watch that one. Yeah, the temperature has risen as well,
This
quite a
is
substantial amount.
this is a battle for position here. We've got Tony here, half a second behind Nick Trapp. So these two were fighting earlier on. Then the gap increased. It looks like now that the conditions have started to dry out a bit more, Tony's got right back on the back of Nick here.
Yeah, that dry line is definitely starting to show. It's really coming back to the track now. So that BMW might start getting that bit extra grip coming through, but so will the Audi. So I think it will just come down to the driver in this situation to who keep it on that drier line better.
We've also got Seabrook in the pits, and Rocky's 0.3 of a second behind Milashev, P7 and P8.
Yeah, let's see how he does with this situation. Obviously, Milashev did punt one of his teammates off of the track, unfortunately, as well. And another drive-through has just come through for Loretti.
Getting at the point in the race now where it's really tough to not get those penalties because it's been a long race. It's an hour. We're an hour and a half in. 30 minutes to go. Yeah, Rocky here, right up behind Milashev. Let's see who's braver on the brakes. Trouble is the dry line's the racing line. He's gone for the move.
Dive down the inner side there.
Makes it stick. That's a good move there. Going over a bit of an instant replay from the chase cam.
If I can get right to it, there we go.
So right in the slipstream down the straight. Pulls out, realises it's a bit too wet out there. Pulls it back in a little bit. Manages to get hold of some of that drier line. I think he was helped out there that Milashev ran a little bit wide as well. But job done. Move made. Puts Rocky up into P7.
Yep. I hate that bug after the
That is
replays.
a great bug in ACC. There's some great bugs.
Yeah, some very exciting ones.
I think this track is now at the point where if you have to pit now, dry tyres are a real option. Like you'll lose a little bit of time, but then you're going to start gaining.
Yep. I mean, obviously the rain is coming back towards the end of the race as well. We might not end up seeing that.
Yeah, that might be a bit too far out. But then if the rain comes with 2 or 3 laps and you're on the dry tyres, I think you should be okay with that. Especially with the track temperatures that we've got.
Yeah, since they skyrocketed to 23 and track at 26. So we
Well,
could see this line drying up quite a
I'm
bit.
not quite sure I would say it had skyrocketed. It's gone
Well,
up
they were
by
down at
2 degrees from the
19.
start.
Yeah, they were down at like 1920, so it has, gone up substantially.
I mean,
1 degree can be like, half a full PSI. So, you know, it makes all the difference. I suppose it is just keeping them wet tires cool as well. Just keep on dipping your tires into all the puddles that are still remaining on the track,
I
just to
th-
make sure you don't overheat them.
so Milashev coming back here at Rocky. A
Yeah,
little
he
bit
is
too far
right
back
on.
there, but still right in touching distance there. I think
He is.
the other thing we've overlooked a little bit is at that first set of pit stops. I guess a lot of drivers will probably have filled their fuel tanks up as well. So that
Yeah,
was about, was it about the 15-20 minute mark when the rain started to come down and people started pitting?
yeah, it was around that point. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people will struggle to keep enough fuel in the tank to the end, though.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
think they'll get to the end, but I think they'll definitely get to a point where dry tyres are the right choice. Looking at how quickly this is starting to dry out now, there's a really defined dry line here, and you're going to start getting to the point soon where you see drivers pulling over on the straight to cool the wet tyres because they will start to get a bit warm.
yeah, it's a very fine line to how to keep them cool and the moment to start cooking. Because also the moment to start cooking is when they'll start losing a lot of that traction that the wet tire does offer, um, which will obviously impede their driving times even further, unfortunately.
So Nick Langer has still steadily decreased that gap a bit more. We're at 41 seconds now between our lead two drivers. Still a big gap, but it is coming down. So interesting to
I
see
mean,
where that goes towards the end of the race.
if Nick does definitely need to pit, it could be worth chucking it in a little bit sooner if he is making the time. But then it does run the risk of later on when it could have been the switch to the dry tires would be the better play.
Yeah, I think dry tires are going to be are going to come into play at the end of this race, and I think whoever has to pit the latest might get the benefit at the minute. With the way the track's drying, I think if you can stay on the wets another couple of laps until it dries out a bit more, that's probably the way to go. We see Screamer in the pits though. I wonder if that's for dry tyres.
Yeah, it could be. The sun is starting to also peek its head from the clouds,
There is
so we could see.
there's a defined dry line there. The track is still classed as wet in its uh,
That,
designation,
that,
but
that covers the majority of the track, though, doesn't it? It don't,
yeah,
it's not going to say
exactly.
driving line dry.
Oh no, it's a good indication of where the game thinks conditions are at least. Um,
So unfortunately, coming off
just
the
ran
track,
a
they're
little
losing
bit
that
wide
bit more
there.
time. So currently on board with Nick
So
Langer here. Let's see how that
interesting,
Honda is handling.
interesting to see what lap times Screamer starts putting in now that he's left the pit. So I'll keep an eye on that for our viewers.
Or we can jump on for 1 or 2 laps. See, no, that's Rocky, not Screamer. My apologies. There we go. There he is in the Audi. I knew I forgot something at the start of the stream. I forgot to get a glass for my drink.
I wonder if this is the dry tyres or the wet tyres.
It is pretty hard to tell, obviously, from the outside angle.
I think it's wet tyres. He's searching for that wet track.
Yeah.
Obviously, his fuel was running low and he had to come in. Either that or he was struggling on traction there. It's a shame there's not a way to
Really
see what
random.
tyres people are on. I mean, that could be dry tyres.
Yeah, he does seem to be struggling a little bit with his turn-ins.
Yeah, I think he's on the dry tyres here.
Yeah, because he's all right when he's really sticking to the line, but then he is struggling when he's hitting the puddles on the track.
Exactly.
Track temperature has increased again, so that driving line will start to dry up a little bit quicker as
Yeah,
well.
I think that's dry tyres. Looking at the way that car's handling, I think he's pulled the trigger and gone to the dries, but then he is looking for the wet as well. So
Yeah, he's really going through the wet up that straight there.
we've got Rosanek in the pits as well. I wonder what tyres he's going to choose. Maybe these wet tyres are just overheating straight away, and that's why we see him struggling in some of these corners.
It could be because he is really trying to find them puddles as he's going around the track, but he has got a lot of grip through the dry section, and obviously with the wet, so you can suffer from that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you would still get the grip. Like our leaders' lap times now have come down to 1 minute 20s. So there is definitely
One
more
minute
grip out
20.
there. 2 minute 20s, sorry.
I'm gonna say, what's he done to finally turn his hacks on?
It's been a long race. Yeah, I can't quite work out what tyres he's gone for here. Going to see what Rosanek's doing, and I'll keep an eye on the times for Screamer.
Yep, let's have a look. We could do with like F1 style indicating for tyres there, couldn't
Yeah, I don't know if
we?
there's a way to find out what tyres people are on or not.
I think with the new application that we're looking into, it does actually tell you, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, something to look into. So Nick Trapp's in the pits now as well. So let's see, Screamer is on his first flying lap now since he left the pits. So we'll get an indication of what lap times he's doing.
Yeah, it looks like Jacob here is really sticking to that dry line as it's coming through, so it could be that he is on the dries.
Could very well be.
I think we'll find out if he clipped a curb or comes off that driving line, really.
So Screamer last lap was a 2 minute 20 as well. So leader's pace there. So I wonder if that's the wets or the dries.
Yeah, I mean, unless he's just using the water to his advantage to keep his tyres cooler. Obviously, it would affect his tyre pressure that little bit, so I couldn't see a
Oh yeah,
massive
but
advantage.
in these conditions, the dry tyres are going to be super cold even on the racing line. So I don't think you'd really go looking for water if you're on the dry tyres. I think both of these cars are probably on the wets. 20 minutes on the wets, even if the track dries up completely, I think they'll get it to the end. It's just to be seen whether anyone takes the risk and goes onto the dries.
Double at Jacob there is taking position, moving up to 7th over Horacio there. Nice move through turn 1.
Distack. Not sure what you mean there, Salvo Racing. Okay. Yeah, we're looking at a couple of applications, so should hopefully be able to find a good solution for the streamers, for the viewers. So
we're looking for a new, well, we have got a new overlay system. It's just we didn't have the time to set it up properly before this event. So that'll be coming into play, and also we are looking around for other apps. I think we are looking at pit wall at some point, aren't we, Matt?
Yeah, I think so.
Um,
So we've got Tony in the
so
pits here as well.
see now, I think he will go for the drives.
I think he will. Um, Obviously, we're not out on track, so we don't know the exact conditions, but it looks to me that it's not far off dry tyres. That dry line is very dry now. We've still got 18 minutes to go. I think for Tony it's worth the risk because he's not been probably where he wants to be in this race, and that could be the way to get further forward. So keep an eye on how he does coming out of the pits.
Yeah, really sticking to that dry line is
We got
not tempting fate at all.
yeah, that looks like dry tyres. We've got Damien. We got our leader in the pits. Damien's in the pits.
Yep, so this is a chance for Nick to obviously catch up. But obviously Nick might have to also pit sometime soon to just splash and dash to get back on that track. Looks like Nick is now coming around the last corner with Damien still in the pits. Damien has now started moving, but Nick looks like he might just get in front of him coming out of it.
Yeah, so Nick takes the lead there. Damien's still coming out the pits. But yeah, I believe Nick's going to have to pit again, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he's only done one major pit at the very beginning of the race, really, hasn't
Yeah.
he? No.
So we've got currently the quickest drivers on track are Nick Langaro, who's out in the lead at the minute, and Rocky, both doing times in the 2-minute 20s. Actually, Rosenek doing a 2:19, 2:19.8. So making up a little bit of time there. I am interested to know what tyres Damien's on. It looks like the dry tyres to me.
Yeah, he's really struggling to find the grip when he is hitting them wet patches.
Yeah.
So I do believe that he is on the drives there.
So who's the car behind him on track at the minute?
That would be Screamer. Screamer. Okay.
Screamer. So
Giovan. There we go.
this will really tell us which tyres are the right ones at the minute, because we know Screamer's still out on the wets. Obviously, you can see him hunting for the water there.
BMW just flying by the Audi there.
I think if he's on the wet tyres and he's getting that much more grip down that straight, there may be the tyres to be on at the minute. But I think the tracks. Oh, he ran a bit wide there as well. The track's going to come towards the dry tyres though. I think another 2 laps, and the dry tyres are going to be the tyre to be on. Just looking at times, everyone's times are coming down as the track dries. We've got a few drivers in the low 2:19s now. We've got Rocky, Rosnek, and Nick Trapp all in the low 2:19s. So it's really starting to hot up.
Yeah, I mean the track temperature is up to 27 degrees, so apparently still track condition is still wet. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Damien's
Damien.
definitely on the dry tyres. He's trying to get some heat into them there.
Yeah. But he is losing time to Nick, who is on the wets. Looks like the two M4R guys there just.
The trouble is, you can see there with those two BMWs, the wet tyres I think are going to be overheating now. The dry tyres are going to be too cold. The wet tyres are going to be overheating. It's a case of which tyre do you prefer in these conditions? The overheating wet or the the underheated dry. I think I'd personally go for the dry. But this is risky territory here for Damien because he's got two back markers behind him. They've made the move a couple of times and run wide. Just takes one of them to snatch a break and run into the back of him, and that could really ruin Damien's race.
Yeah, well, let's hope that that does not happen. I mean, they should know obviously what position he is currently running in. So, in all fairness, them two aren't fighting for position, so there's no real need to push too far up to Damien at this point. But the Aston just really flooring it down there.
Could we see another lockup? Or will he make the corner this time? Makes the corner this time. Really interesting to see how long Nick can go because he is gaining time throughout this phase.
He is, but he is also losing with the M4R guys that keep on pushing him off the line into that wet of the track. So it is fluctuating quite a lot. If he's got clean air, he's making up a lot of time, but then the moment he gets stuck behind one again, he's just losing it all over.
So what would be
Oh, Nick is in the pit.
Nick's pitted. So Nick's been doing 2-minute 20s. Wonder what time this is going to be. Damien's first full lap after the pit stop. So we'll be able to see what time he will regain the lead here. What sort of lap times is he doing on those dry tyres?
2:24s.
So 2:24.3. So the dry tyre's really not working just yet, but obviously that big buffer paying dividends from that he's made earlier in the race.
Yeah, definitely. As long as we don't have a rate of Mount Panorama, we'll be all right. Touch wood, he doesn't. We don't want to, unfortunately, see that again.
Yeah, it's not good to see anyone disconnecting mid race really, but it's one of them things that it kind of equates to like if you had an engine failure during a real life race. So it looks like Nick Trapp's got ahead of Nick Langer here in the pit phase. I'm not sure if I've seen Nick Trapp pit though.
Yeah, Nick has pitted recently, I do believe.
So that is for positioning, and Tony's got ahead of Nick Langer as well.
Yeah, but Tony is still yet.
Looks like Screamer. No, Tony did pit.
Oh, Tony did pit,
and Screamer's got ahead as well.
So depending on what
tyre Nick quite a lot of time in that pit phase.
Yeah, depending on what tyre Nick has gone for, it could be either looking to gain them position back or could be losing.
Yes, so the official track conditions, according to the game, have now gone to damp, which now these dry tyres will start to become the quicker tyre. So it's going to be a case the guys on the wets are just going to have to hang it in there for the last 10 minutes. The guys on the dry tyres should start to have an advantage. And I think Nick will have gone for the dry tyres, I think. Seeing how track conditions are. So it's just a case of keeping it on that drier line and seeing what he can do with the three cars that jumped him in that pit phase.
I mean, if he does start really making up the time on them tyres, then he is going to really start reeling him in with that fishing rod. And just, yeah, because there's only a 4-second gap between him and fourth position right now. And then a 5-second gap. So there's only 10 seconds that he does need to get, but there is only 9 minutes remaining of the race.
So those dry tyres on Damien's car, he is currently the fastest car on track with a 2-minute 18.0. The fastest time we had from a wet runner was a 2:18.5. Because I believe Rosneck's on the dry tyres as well, down in 7th. He did a 2:18.3.
Yeah, I think I've determined how he was driving. He was definitely on the dry tyres.
Not quite sure how Nick, unless Nick had damage to repair in the pits, maybe. But I don't know why you would repair damage at this phase of the race. But yeah, you can see the 3 cars ahead of him there, all on the pit straight there. So if he starts to make up a lot of time here, those dry tyres are really going to come into their own. It's really just getting the temperature in them that's the hardest part of this phase. And there is still rain on the horizon, so with the track not having fully dried out, if it does start to rain again, the cars on the dry tyres are going to start to really struggle. So
Yeah,
it will get
them
wet
dry
again quite
lines.
quick.
Yeah, them dry lines will really just get soaked out straight away if that rain does start to come, because there is still a fair bit of water on the track here, and the sun has gone away, so it won't be drying up as quickly.
No, track temperature is still 27 degrees though, so interesting to see. It's an interesting finish to the race. What sort of times is Nick doing on these dry tyres? So he's just on the back straight on his first flying lap after the pit
We
stop.
have a yellow from Palmyra. I don't know if he came off there or what.
Looks like it's cleared again. So
Looks like Hristo is in the pits as well. Gonna lose position there to Giovan.
yep, probably. I think he might be our last of the pitters. So he's really got a long stint out of that BMW, but just a few laps short of getting to the end. So it doesn't look at the minute like Nick Langer's really making up much time on the cars ahead. It's just under 7 minutes of this race left. Let's see what lap time he's putting in. So he's coming around the penultimate corner. Heads into the final left-hander onto the pit straight. So Screamer ahead of him just did a 2:17. Yeah, he's just over a second slower. So not making those dry tyres work. Unlike Damien, who did a 2:16.6 on that last lap. So those cars that pitted early for the wet tyres really seem to have got the advantage here, which I must admit I thought it'd go the other way. But obviously the track just hasn't dried out as quickly as I thought. So they're able to just hang it out, find the wet patches on the straights, and just kind of make those wet tires work to the end. So,
Yeah, let's have a look at Nick here, because we've not really had a look at him a lot. Let's watch him on this lap. Really sticking to them puddles to keep them
really
tyres
trying to
cold.
cool. You can see how much he's struggling with these tyres overheating with the little lock up there. Bit of water.
It's like Screamer is catching Tony as well. He's now only 2 seconds away from him.
Yep.
Can Screamer take away that position from him now? With
So
over 5 minutes remaining.
Screamer's been pretty quick since the pit stop. The last couple of laps he's gained a second on Tony, so might be worth jumping onto that battle. We're getting close towards the end. That's the back marker there. That's Loretti that he just passed there. Thought I was gonna get a bit excited, but I saw the car number before I did. Yeah, 1.7, 1.6 seconds behind, heading into turn 1. But he did gain another 2 seconds on that last lap. We've got Damien out in front on doing 2:15.1s now, so he's really been able to make those dry tyres work.
Well, he might have got his PSI set up correctly, so that the water on the track doesn't really soak him out that too much. Obviously, you really need to try and keep him warm, but
Yeah, generally when the track is a bit wet, especially at this stage, you can put the pressures up a little bit more than what you would normally because you're not gonna like the track's. Excuse me, the track's not gonna fully dry out by the end. So I think we're gonna have damp conditions all the way to the end now. So the higher pressures just help you keep that temperature in. See that Screamer really cooling them tyres. He's still closing that gap. It's under a second now, the gap to Tony. So which one of the M4R drivers is going to win this battle?
yeah, we'll have a big brain racing on the top. We've got a Nick Trap, and then who out of the M4R will it be? Tony or will it be Nicolo? So only time will tell with only roughly 2 laps remaining.
Yeah, I think it will be 2 more laps because Damien's already crossed the line. 3:14.6 from Damien in the lead there. He's really got these dry tyres working.
Yeah, he's really sticking it to the track and just putting it on them rails.
Could there be a move here into turn 1 from Screamer? Probably a little bit too far back. Heading over to dry those tyres once again. These wet tyres are really going to be screaming out a little bit now. They're going to be overheating quite badly. You can see there both cars really struggling to find the grip through the S's here.
Yeah, both of them are just slipping and sliding across the track, so them tyres must be just cooking away to themselves.
It does look like Screamer's got the advantage here. Oh, and Nick Langer's got a drive through.
Oh no, right at the end of the race as well. Oh, it looks
Screamer
like
makes the move up the inside.
can he make it stick? Tony is coming back, and oh, unfortunately, Tony does get back in.
Oh, slippery out there. So we're gonna have one more lap, and Rosanek's closed right up on Rocky now as well.
Yeah, can he take that 6th position away from him? Both of them really struggling. Yeah, he does. And that's an easy stick from there because unfortunately Rocky does come off the track. Both of them really struggling with these tyres
and
now.
Rocky with the drive through there as well on the second to last lap.
Oh no, that is just terrible news for both them drivers there.
So Screamer's still right behind Tony. Uh, 2:13.5 from Damien that last lap. He's not worried about a little bit of damp weather, is he?
No, definitely not. And the track has just upgraded to greasy as well.
Yeah.
So them tyres are just going to be screaming because there's not that many real puddles on the track anymore.
No, the racing line's pretty much dry, and the rest of it's basically a little bit damp. So it's going to be really hard last lap to keep these tyres alive.
It looks like Nick is taking his penalty.
Yeah.
Just got the opportunity to do that as well.
And here comes the rain again on the final lap.
Now it comes down to who killed the tyres more.
It looks like Screamer's got the edge, but can he make the move and make it stick?
Yep, so Nick has taken his drive-through penalty, so he won't suffer from 30 seconds being added on
So
by the game.
Damien's just coming around the last corner if you want to switch to him to
Yep,
cross the line.
so here is your winner of the 2 hours at COTA.
Congratulations, Damien. Now let's get back to that battle.
I'm just
Might be a
trying to
little bit
find
too
where
far
Nick
back
is
here.
on top.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye out.
Nick's
Keeping,
in front of them anyway.
yeah, I'm keeping an eye out.
So as we're coming round, it looks like Nicolo is suffering though, and unless he can really make some magic happen. I mean, Tony going that
He
little
runs
bit
wide.
wide around there, but Nicolo can't capitalize on it, and unfortunately comes back to where he was.
Could have a photo finish here between these two. See how much more grip Screamer's got through this section than Tony. Not really an overtaking opportunity there, though. Is this going to be a...
No,
No, he's not even close enough for ascending to the last corner, unfortunately, for him.
no. So Tony will take third place. Unfortunately, we did miss Nick crossing the line there in second place. Looks like he wants to do a donut. And everyone else now is starting to come across the line. Nick Langer around the back end of the track there. He is on the dry tires, so he's suffering a lot. He does have Jacob at 3 seconds behind him.
I think he might just hang on to that, though, coming up to the last
Yep.
corner.
Oh, does take it wide. Yeah, and it does look like Nick will hold on there.
I think we've had a couple of people leave, so we'll give you
Yeah,
the
we've already had people leave,
we'll
so
give you the official results in a couple of minutes once we get the end of the session.
there we go. If you would like to take it away, Matt.
Yep. So our your screen's gone black. So
Yep.
our winner was Damien. Congratulations to him. Second place, Nick Trapp. Third place, Tony Frasina. Fourth place, Nicola Screamer. Fifth place, Nick Langer. Sixth place, Jacob Roseneck. Seventh place, we've got Rocky. Eighth place, we've got Skimika. Ninth, Milishev. 10th place, we've got Ivan Marandino. 11th place, Jason Seabrook. 12th place, Neil Aldridge. 13th place, Palmieri. 14th, we've got Watkins. 15th, we've got Piva. 16th, we've got Loretti. And then I'm going to say the others are all unclassified. 21 laps down. I think that counts as a DNF.
It looks like we will
so-
have our leader of the race as well join in for a quick interview. If you'd like to change the screen, Matt.
Yep, I'm just catching up on chat. Yep, thanks for tuning in, guys. It was a great race, today. Who's everyone's driver of the day? I'm going to start with you, Corey. Who's your driver of the day?
I don't know. It's a hard one because it was a very hard race. I mean, with all the weather changes and everything, it just got very difficult on the track out there. Honestly, if I would give it to someone, I'm probably going to say Tony because he did suffer at the beginning of the race quite a bit, but then he did pull it back. How about your thoughts? Who do you think should get it?
Obviously, Damien had a good race, but did see him make a few mistakes. I think probably for me, Nick Trapp in second. Very quiet race, which usually means things are going well. Like, never really had any battles as far as we could see. Didn't really see any mistakes from him when we switched to him. Just a solid race, really. And finished 50 seconds behind Damien, but also he was on the wet tires at the end when everyone was struggling on the wets. but still
Yeah.
managed to finish 19 seconds ahead of Tony in third. So, yeah, I'd say Nick Trapp. What's everyone's thoughts in chat? Who's your driver of the day?
Yep, and we do have Damien here now joining us. Well done, Damien, on your race. How did it go for you?
Evening. Thanks. It did go well, as the results can tell, I guess. I finally got the full set of points. Matt already mentioned me making a few mistakes. There was quite a few, actually. I think at least 4 spins. Although it was actually the first time I raced in the wet on this track, so I'm pretty happy with that. 4 spins is not that bad over 2 hours.
No.
I didn't get a drive-through, which is also excellent. Although I did by accident switch to slicks at the end, which I didn't want to do, so I was, struggling with 24 psi's towards the end of the race. So,
Well, you say that you were struggling. You were 3 seconds quicker when it did dry up enough for them. So 3 seconds quicker than anyone else at that time.
well, yeah, maybe the pace was there, but it was really, really difficult to keep the car on track. Really, I had to avoid every single curb because I was afraid I'll puncture all of my tires. So
Yeah.
it was exhausting. It was exhausting.
Yeah, well done on that one, though. I bet it was a bit of a shock when the rain did come. You know, we've had 2 dry races so far, and then the rain came for this one.
Yeah, actually, the strategy I did worked splendidly because I only put like 60 liters at the start of the race with slicks. So I did manage to get a fastest lap and then went on the wets. And it was good because everyone had to pit, so I didn't have to worry about making a second pit stop because there was still like hour and 20 minutes left of the race. So it was obvious everyone has to pit again. So that worked perfectly for me, actually.
That's good.
Well, on to Imola for the next one. How are you feeling about that?
I love the track. I really, really like the track. Maybe not in the Audi, but the track overall, I really, really like. But I don't want to see a single drop of rain on that track. Not at all.
Yeah, Audi in the wet at Imola is a good recipe, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, thank you very much for joining us there, Damien. Have you got any more few words, Matt? Or
yeah, just congratulations from me as well, and good luck in the next one and the rest of the season.
Yeah, thank you. It was a
Yep.
great race. Double points, right? So even better for me.
Yeah,
Yep, double point.
and fastest lap as well, I think.
Yeah, that's good. Well, it's even better because of my unfortunate round 1 where I disconnected and didn't get too many points for that one. So yeah, pretty happy with the result today.
Yep. Well, congratulations, mate. Enjoy your win. Enjoy your spoils. And let's hope you can get prepared enough for Imola. You know, it might have to be that you have to do some wet training for this one. So,
Yeah.
All right.
well, unfortunately, we can't bribe the gaming gods. So, but yeah, thank you very much, Damien.
Thank you. Catch you later.
Catch you later. Congratulations again. So
That's just muted himself.
That's fine. Yeah, well, yeah, another good race there. We saw a lot of action on track. We saw a lot of people struggling with the conditions. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that one.
Yeah, definitely. There was some really good fighting, especially at the start of the race. They're just non-stop battles for quite a lot of it, and given the conditions, with like there was only a couple of penalties given out. We will review the footage anyway, but for me, it was a very clean race on a very difficult track as well. So
Definitely difficult track, difficult conditions.
Yeah, for me, I personally want to be able to do what the guys have done today. So congratulations to everyone who took part in the race. And I really hope you thoroughly enjoyed it, and you will definitely be back for the next one because it's hopefully going to be a nice sunny Imola for you.
We'll see
But
what the weather gods bring.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the weather gods bring on that one.
So yeah, that is our next race. Like Corey said, next Monday night, will be online just before 8 p.m. again, like we were tonight, for Imola. So hopefully you can join us then. Also, feel free to follow us on all socials. And if you're interested in buying any sim racing gear, we'd appreciate if you use our affiliate link. That's for Digital Motorsports. Similarly, if you are interested in buying a Mazda racing wheel or pedals or everything, we also have an affiliate link for Mazda Racing. All the details are below for that as well. And if you are interested in energy drinks, we also have affiliation with W Energy. So I believe their starter kits are still in stock. So if you want to try any of those, they're also available. All the information is below. Just seen, yep, it will stay on for 7 days. We also upload it to our YouTube channel as well. So if anyone wants to watch anything back, it will stay on Twitter for the next 7 days. And it will also be uploaded to YouTube within the next 24 hours or so. So yeah, but yeah, if anyone does want to use any of our affiliate links, that just helps out the team, helps us put on these races, pay for servers and stuff like that. So any help is appreciated with that. But yeah, I think that's everything that I've got to say at the minute. Anything more from you, Corey?
No, just thank you to everyone who did stick around and watch the stream. Hope you thoroughly enjoyed it, and hope to see you next week in the next one.
Yep, same from me. Thanks everyone for watching, and we will hopefully catch you next Monday.
Goodbye.
Bye for now.